Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to Pep Talks in the Morning. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of March, and I'm joining you here again for another episode. Today, I am joined by my lovely co-host and head of the Women's Arm and deputy political leader of the party, Lima McLeod Wilkinson.
Hi, good night, because outside is black still, so good night.
Good morning and good night. Well, whenever actually, good night is not bad because whenever they watch this on the rerun, or some people actually who catching the show still in the dark, so they getting to see it in the night as you may say. How was getting up this morning for the show?
Very hard. I really don't know how people do this, but this is very hard. I actually need a wake up call.
If there's one thing we can give to the Hemas and the Fazeer is that they probably very much seasoned in doing this, but pretty soon, because Lima is going to be taking over her own corner on a Friday.
Yes, Friday.
Herself and Natalia Moore from the youth are each going to have an hour with you guys to bring some PEP policies as well as talk current events from their perspective. Now, we have a lot of topics to touch on today, and while I was putting together some stories for us to discuss, I stumbled across one that was very close to my heart because it addresses the brain drain situation that we have going on right now. Something that Dr. Nasir Mustafa actually said we're going to have more of as people run from Trinidad and Tobago, literally run and look for opportunities outside to countries like the United States and Canada and Europe, as some young people are doing right now. And this one is close to my heart because of my 3 best friends. 2 of them actually migrated out of the country, so it's difficult to carry on a friendship, but I have to say though, the opportunities that they have abroad are so much different to the opportunities that we have here. And I wanted to discuss this because, I mean, as much as I applaud all of those who left, and we have a lot of peppers and people who support the PEP who are expats and they now live abroad and they have pursued different lives, some only recently, some from a young age. But as much as that is positive for them, it's actually a real shame and sad thing when you consider it in terms of the country, because we have all of these bright minds literally leaving our shores and taking their knowledge outside of the country, you can say.
But it goes to show that we don't actually have opportunities for them, because you have gates where you open it up to any degree people want to do anything, but you don't have the opportunity to do the actual job that you study for, and that's what they need to focus on more here, because there's no end to this. There's no end to this. I have friends who migrated as well, and you're seeing the better opportunities over there. My sister also migrated, and I traveled to where she lives, and I was amazed at how well put together and well organized that country is.
Where is she?
Belgium.
Belgium.
Right? So from the simple thing as, the bus running on time.
Listen, that is such a stickler for me. Every time I have to travel somewhere and the bus is supposed to come, I'll never forget. I went to the mall in New York. Twice this happened to me. And the bus was supposed to come at 5:35. At 5:32, I'm like, have time. Went into a store and popped back out only to see the bus literally passing me at 5:35. And I mean, I learned the hard way that this is not PTSD.
Yeah.
There's no red band maxi. It's not a fight up scene. It's when the bus leaves at 5:35, it leaves at 5:35. And it's those little things.
What my sister told me over there is that if they are late, they have to do a report as to why they were late.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I also read an article somewhere where in Japan they have to apologize to the public when they are late.
Wow, apologize to the public.
In Trinidad, a friend of mine, he lives in Manzanilla, so he comes and he has to work in Port of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to travel, and he said while he was walking through City Gate, he had already reached the Port of Spain, so while he's walking through, he just heard the announcement that the bus to Sandy Grande was just cancelled. and the next available bus to Sangre Grande was like a few hours after. So you left people stranded there. So what if you didn't have money to actually travel on a taxi or whatever?
But not just that, but think about how it impacts. So for everybody who was going to take that bus, who had to get to work, who had an emergency, who had children to drop to school or pick up, you literally just offset the lives of plenty people, because as a domino effect, the people that they would have set up into now have to change their plans. And I mean, you see it literally spreading from one.
So imagine if you had an interview.
Imagine if you had a job.
That is stressful, because you'll be panicking even more now. Oh my God, what if I don't reach on time? And the people see that and they say, you can't make it to work on time, and all these different things.
I notice a lot of jobs, especially in the private sector, one of the recruitment, they're not really seeing it as a requirement, but one of the things they ask you is if you have a vehicle. And no, and I understand now, because especially in jobs where being on time is...
but with our traffic situation, that will still be impossible, because you could leave, let's say you live San Fernando, you could leave on time and some stupid accident cause you to be stuck in traffic for hours,
That is true. I'll never forget a time there was an accident that happened about 2 o'clock in the morning, and 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, drivers were still being impacted.
I have a lot of co-workers who live fast down south, and once there's an accident, according to how bad it is, they turn around and they go back home.
And again, this is where, if you have a job that allows you the flexibility of working home,
and that people quick to ball public servants don't do anything or whatever, but they don't understand the hardship it is just to get to work.
Is there an opportunity to work from home in a public service?
It depends on the position. You have to be high up in the rank. So like maybe database administrator or some IT somebody where you could pull up on your computer and do. Yeah, but other than that, no.
One of the things he said here, he compared Trinidad and Tobago to Canada, a country with a population of 35 million, considered a high-income country that attracts immigrants from all over the world, which is true. We have a lot of peppers, especially living in Canada.
But you see the advertisements all the time, come live Canada.
Come live Canada, yeah. Even if you have a humble job in Canada, you can afford the necessities of life. A person on an average income can afford a house in Canada. This is true.
Yeah.
A person on an average income in Trinidad and Tobago cannot afford a house. There's a lot of short-term employment in Trinidad and Tobago, and banks don't give loans to people with contracts.
Yeah.
In Canada, someone working in a store can afford an apartment. And that's so true. My friend, again, she left right when I was about to go UE, and she went to college abroad, and our lives literally followed on a parallel until hers literally, well, both of them, their lives just started to accelerate in a different direction. And not for a lack of trying, and not for a lack of again, smart people, because we have plenty smart people, but then you are inhibited by all of these backward ways that we have here in Trinidad and Tobago. My friends, both of them, they own their own homes. At my age, here in Trinidad and Tobago, people still looking to rent.
Yeah, and
catching up money. Exactly, and not only that, but I'm seeing a lot of young people being, I have to say, forced into situations like renting with boyfriends and girlfriends, which I don't recommend for anybody to do, because...
No, but in some of those financial institutions, that's what they tell you. You don't have a friend you could team up with, and it's like, you're out of place to tell me that. Because if I hook up with somebody to do that, let's say it's a meal.
Yeah.
Then what?
And the relationship does not last. You would literally be bouncing around from renting.
And then some people could be wicked. You get put out now. You don't know where to go. And then most of the places you need to have a deposit. And it's ridiculous. They purposely trying to stagnate people.
They have estimated roughly 100,000 citizens from Trinidad and Tobago have migrated to Canada only. And 100,000 is a lot. It's a lot, because that is literally nearly 10% of our population, almost 10% of our population.
Well, we filled that void there. We have all the Venezuelans and the Guyanese and the tourists here, so.
I know we're joking about it, but really and truly, what can we say that these immigrants, and a lot of them illegal, are they really contributing to society because are they paying taxes?
The thing is, they need to, well, the places that they work for are supposed to be contributing, but because they aren't nationals, they mightn't be able to get the return. So, like, I don't think they would be able to claim for NIS and those kind of things.
Exactly. And that's it. When we leave and we go abroad, we can't just go and hide out in Uncle Sam country. He will find us and send us back. So, the people who go there, they have to be inculcated in the system. They get social security numbers. They pay their taxes. They do their annual filing.
Yeah, but you see, that's the next thing. Things are easy to be set up over there. It's
Exactly.
structured in such a way that it's easy. It's not like in Trinidad. You start here. They tell you how to go by the next office on next street. When you reach there, no, why they send you here? You have to go by so and so first and then come back here. So it's confusion in our system too, to know where to begin to this whole process of if you want to become that citizen. So the easiest thing is really to be, it might be wrong, but that's the easiest thing to do in Trinidad.
Single mothers are some of the people, and people with technical skills, and that's true. A lot of people who have some of the, my friend, she's a doctor in mechanical engineering, and she's working for a company that builds all kind of technology that we will never see for decades to come, most likely. But that's how advanced their culture and their economy and society is. And
but we don't even have to go that fast, Canada. Look at Barbados. They're going to start teaching those things in primary school. So we might very well want to go Barbados.
I'm glad you brought that up, because right here in the Caribbean, people who started out after us, or who were considered
we used to laugh at.
I remember when we used to laugh at Guyana.
Yeah, how much $1,000 for bread and piece of cheese, and look at us now.
And look at us now. There are actually people leaving this country to go and pursue opportunities in Guyana, buying land, because they have, Guyana is a huge land space and they are severely underpopulated. If you think Trinidad is underpopulated, Guyana has it way worse, and the people are living here, particularly with the oil and gas find that they have going on right now, to pursue opportunities. And it's the negative impact for us as a country is one that I am not sure the 5-year mentality governments that we vote in are even thinking about, because
but they don't care.
Again, exactly, they don't care, because the population that they're relying on to keep them in office is
not the ones remaining.
Exactly, it's not the ones who focused on building a better country and stuff like that. But you think at some point they're going to realize that if you have this huge gap between the unskilled and the uneducated, and the so-called skilled and educated ones in Parliament, and nothing to cushion them in between, you think they realize that...
You mean the buffer?
The buffer.
Between the haves and the have-nots?
Where the buffer between the have and the have-nots. Well, I don't even know if to call myself a buffer anymore, because I went to the grocery the other day, and I feel like I'm a have-not, because... No, seriously, looking at those prices, and I used to think how poor people buying food. Now I have to put myself in that category.
I went to the grocery on Sunday, and I swear I wanted to cry by the cashier, because where I said I was only going to spend about 4 something, 500 maximum, I spent 700 and change. And I was like, wow.
That is one of the most heartbreaking feelings, to think that you calculate your bills so well and then reach up to the cashier.
And I literally saw people in the grocery.
No, but that's what you have to do now. You have to round up the numbers, because you have no idea.
I usually add on a $2-3 to everything when I do it. But the thing about it is now is like, you can't even do that, because 750 something, and I didn't pick up anything out of the way. The only thing I splurged on was a tin of whipped cream. That was my splurge.
That was your splurge? Not even a bottle of wine?
No. A tin of whipped cream. And then when I see the thing, I said, what? She bought $756 and how many cents? I was like, so I'm watching her, and I was like, but wait till I pick up soda. Get the bill to that. So she just looked at the stuff, and then she watched me, and I was just like, right.
And in your mind, you're trying to calculate how did the extra $400 really add up. And that is, again, that's something that people leaving this country for. They literally cannot afford food. I could go in a grocery in the States with $50 and have enough groceries to last me a week to 2 weeks.
Well, look at that.
Which you can't say here in Trinidad
No.
and Tobago. What can you get for $50? How much for a tin of milk?
For a baby,
Yeah,
more than $50.
more than $50.
That's like
And
70 something dollars.
I was actually reading that some groceries started locking up baby milk and Pampers because people
stealing.
them.
And that's another thing that our social development ministry don't ever take into consideration. The fact that you have people stealing these kind of items means something is terribly wrong.
It's not like you're going and steal a bottle of Johnny or a bottle of wine or something.
The fact that you have to steal food.
The fact that you have to steal food
Baby
says
supplies.
a lot. That again, exactly like you're saying, I don't think the people in social
our social development minister is a female, and I would love to know more about that woman personally, because how you could be a woman in such a position and you're not seeing all these different things. How you don't feel for the woman who was caught stealing garlic and chive and all the stuff to cook. Obviously she was carrying it home to cook. How you don't feel sorry for people like that to say, okay, I will really try and do my job tomorrow?
A lot of people, and I remember when that had happened, remember this guy, and I'd call in his name, he actually, some people, because that's the kind of culture that we have, if you do something wrong, blame. People wouldn't see her as a victim. They say, oh, she's a thief, and
or she could go and get a job, and why she had to sit, she could have just go and ask somebody. But to go and ask somebody, hi, could you buy me these items?
It is an embarrassing situation.
How are you going to start to ask a question like that?
Thank you very much. And people don't, a lot of
Trinidadians,
we selfish and we don't like to look outside of our circumstances.
No, but we will glorify the shirt and tie thief.
Oh no, they could rob us with our eyes closed. Rob us anytime. Rob us from the bank level in terms of all those banks.
Service charge fees.
Service charge.
Republic Bank.
Listen, all of them at this moment, because there's no bank in Trinidad that I know of right now that people say, yeah, this bank, I'm comfortable with them robbing.
I know for sure I'm not going in Scotiabank. Ever. That could be the last bank it have in Trinidad. I will put my money under a mattress. That bank is the worst.
Under your mattress, you say.
Yeah.
No. I really hear a lot of horror stories about
I
banking.
went to even just pay something. I wanted to buy outfits, and sometimes some people tell you go and pay in the bank and then they will deliver it. So I was like, alright, fine. When she told me Scotia, I was like, God. I was like, you don't have a next bank? She goes, no, unfortunately, that's I was like, here, what? I would have advice. You need to go for a bank that are a little bit more popular, that have fast what do you call it, with the fast service thing where you can fast deposit and those kind of things. So I went to the one on Pembroke Street, Park and Pembroke. I couldn't even open the door. They had closed the doors, and so when she closed, I was like, but what time is this? I was like, y'all change your closing hours or what? The hours y'all have on the door is not the same time y'all close. What's going on? Well, unfortunately, we have too many people inside of the bank, and OSHA says we must have a certain amount of people in the bank to facilitate the banking stuff, and we kind of short-staffed right now. And she going down. I was like, here, what? I just came to make a deposit to buy a top. What is my alternative? Well, you could try to use another branch. And I was like, that's not convenient for me.
Yeah.
What? And this was all along with the $100 thing. So
it
had a whole lot of senior people inside of it. So I said, so there's no teller that I could just, what about the business section or whatever? I can't do that? No, unfortunately. And she's talking to me like that. That just irritated me more, just how she's talking to me. I was like, all right, fine. So I said, I'll just wait a few minutes. I stand up outside the bank when people come and they were trying to get into the bank. I was like, hey, time to change your bank, this is the worst bank, because you can't even get in the bank to change some money. You can't do anything. I can see you
outside the bank doing
Yeah, I stood up there for a while. I was like, time to change your bank. Scotia Bank is not the bank. This is the worst bank.
All you were missing was a placard.
Yeah, she came outside. She's like, hi. So I was like, yes, can I help you now? So she's like, you might really want to try an next branch, because you'll really be standing up here for a long time. Because you're not even seeing people moving in the bank getting up
Yeah.
to be caught. So I said, okay. I said, thank you. I was like, this is not personal, by the way, but you need to get another job somewhere else because this bank is shit.
Banking.
Wait, could I say that?
Yes, you already said it. It's okay. Banking in Trinidad.
They can beep it out. Beep.
We live, so it's too bad for that. So those who watching the show and rewind and you don't like to hear the word shit, go block your ears. And I just repeated it so you do not feel alone. No, but seriously, banking in Trinidad is almost an
Torture.
absolute nightmare. I'll never forget trying to get a loan from one banking institution that I banked for my entire employment life. About 7 years I was banking with them before I went to get a loan. And they turned me down for reasons that had nothing to do with money, reasons that had nothing to do with my credit score, nothing to do with how much savings that I had in the bank. The reason was such a trivial one that it was almost like they were looking for a reason not to give me the loan. And I had to ask the lady, I'm like, lady, listen, I have been banking with you all for so long.
Yeah.
You all have been taking fees from me for so long. Every payment that I have to make, it's on time. So what it is about me? Or she's like, Mom, it's not you, it's just that the loan that you're asking for, we're not sure that we can secure it because what. And the reason, like I say, was an absolute nonsensical reason. And you have to wonder, these are the people who you literally paying to hold your money, because we're paying them to hold our money. And compare it again, and because we're talking about the
That's
drain,
like a betrayal.
Exactly, we're talking about the brain drain and why people leave the country
For all
When
those
you-
reasons. To get a business
get-
loan.
exactly.
Oh, that's like, I don't even know what.
Exactly.
That's like this on the same thing with trying to get a house.
It is literally on the same wavelength of trying to get a house. And people say, I was reading that an article where a lot of young people are turning to entrepreneurship
Yeah.
because they fed up of the toxic workplace culture that we
Oh
have
God,
here.
boy.
And that is a whole nother kettle of
Toxic
fish,
is
because
not even beginning to explain
It
some
doesn't,
work environments.
and I exactly, because here some of the, fortunately for me, all of the jobs that I have ever had, it's been in institutions that I would say valued my contribution, but that is not the case for a lot of people that I know of. A lot
No,
of
some
people-
places you get a lot of fight down. Why is this person coming to tell me good ideas?
Exactly.
Why are you trying to change this place?
We treat
We
new
like it
ideas-
backward.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. Come on, get with the program.
We treat new ideas and new technology and
As a
new
you come to
contributions,
take
especially from
over.
young people, like they come in to take over, and that in itself stifles people and make
Yeah.
them feel like I don't
I don't really
don't
want
belong
to
here.
be here. And then that's when you start to see people staying home plenty, they taking plenty sick leave, all kind of thing. And you just want to know why. But I did occupational safety, and they said that is something that as a manager, those are things you're supposed to look at to see how you could fix it to make people want to. And right now, where I work, there's a department that has, like, they would organize to do the cinema lime and bonding activities. So,
team building
Yeah.
activities. Yeah.
and HR have a problem with that.
You really?
Yeah.
Question: does HR provide you any internal team building bonding activities?
No, there's team unbonding apparently that they willingly, participate in.
Again, a lot of dinosaurs in positions,
Yeah.
particularly managerial positions. And in my head, I say this, and it sounds bad, but for a lot of young people, they can't wait for the older generation to just
Check
phase
out.
themselves out. I wouldn't use
Check out.
check exactly, literally check out, because they're stifling a lot of
Yeah.
of new ideas and new systems.
I applied for a position and I got it, and a new manager came and she rescinded the decision. And when I spoke to her, she said, you don't need safety for assistant work supervisor. So I was like, what? Having safety is an asset for a supervisor.
Yeah.
How could you not see that? So what? Just let the man jackhammer his foot off and be okay with that then. So it's like, I reach a point where it's like, look, whatever.
We are 26 minutes past. I don't want to start a new topic because we have to go to a break really soon. But on the whole brain drain issue, from a PEP perspective, we are all about hope and opportunity and creating that here for our young people. And we touch on so many various aspects of this failing society, from the workplaces that are so backward in terms of their thinking and operation. We live in a world that is advancing towards technology, a world that is advancing towards new ideas, creativity, new solutions for doing the same thing that we have been doing for hundreds of years. But again, the world is evolving, and Trinidad needs to evolve with it. We need to give our people, especially our young people, the ones that we churning out in the thousands every year from university and COSTAT and UTT. Is there still a UTT? It's a shell now.
I have no idea what's going on in there.
All of these people that we churning out, and
but the thing about it is, though, we put so much emphasis into you must have a degree, but
for
technical
what?
skills are what is actually the future.
It is,
because you can't build a house without a carpenter, mason, and all those kind of labor intensive people.
If you want to get a job in rendering and plaster,
you know,
like you got to
Thailand and all
you
of
need
that.
to have these skills. And we say, the Progressive Empowerment Party says that make skills training and higher level skills training available, particularly for people who are not academically inclined. There are people who don't want to study sciences. I remember when I had the opportunity to choose subjects, I ran from all the sciences. I didn't want to do any because I hated them. I ended up doing physics, and still it was only by force, because in this country you have no idea where you're going to end up, so you feel like you need to do a little bit of everything.
I did one science subject and everything else was more or less social sciences. So, and look where I end up.
And even that, in terms of having to pick subjects as a young child, that in itself is ridiculous, because I have changed so many careers since I'm 5 years old to now, the amount of things that I wanted to do. And if I was supposed to pursue any one of them, I would have gotten pigeonholed and not able to do something else. Why not allow children to expand and explore from up to any level? In the States, and the way they do it in Canada is that you only choose what you want to do in terms of not subjects, but in terms of a career, after you have pursued a varying degree of subjects and explored where you want to take it, rather than tell you from 12 years old that you have to study all of these sciences to be a doctor, and then you realize at 18 that you don't want to be a doctor anymore.
And then you end up doing it because, I done reach here, so I might as well.
You might as well. And that's what we have to. A lot of might as well people. A lot of people who parents told them you have to do this, and they push them in that direction.
When I was in the hospital making my first daughter, the doctor was so personal with my private parts. I said, yo, you up in my business, let me be up in yours. So he's like, okay. So I was like, so why you choose to be a doctor? And he's like, to tell you the truth, I should have done engineering. So I was like, well, it's a little too late to decide that now, but why do you think? He's like, I can't handle this.
And then that's a whole nother kettle of fish. It is 6:30. I'm loving the conversation this morning. We have so much more to talk about. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back.
Despite the security and convenience advantages offered, many have opted out of the formal banking sector and have chosen instead less traditional means of saving their money. Due in no small part to what some have termed rapacious and usurious fees and rates, the public find themselves in a position where deposits of funds in the banks lead to a net loss at the end of the year, making no sense to anyone at all. The traditional relationship is supposed to be one built on depositors' funds being made available to the banks, so that the banks could make those funds available through credit to small businesses to stimulate development and growth. This would have the effect of buoying the economy and creating jobs, a net win for everyone. But that is not what occurs right now. The absence of banking service regulations creates an environment where the banks could do as they pretty much damn well please, leading to where we are today, money warehousing. The Progressive Empowerment Party advocates for strong financial service regulations, including setting and determining banks' lending and deposit fees so as to create an environment where the banks can continue to earn fantastic profits as they do right now, and also protect depositors from overzealous profiteering banks. Deposit fees, cash checking fees, over-the-counter fees, ATM fees, we're one step away from banks charging appearance fees. It is ridiculous, and someone has to speak about it. The public does not know who to turn to. The Financial Services Ombudsman seems to be a myth. The central bank governor and the Minister of Finance don't seem to understand whose responsibility it is to protect depositors and customers from ridiculous fees run amok. So the Progressive Empowerment Party will. We are engaging this conversation with the public, hoping to get the banks and those in government presently to do their jobs. If not, an election is around the corner. Vote the Progressive Empowerment Party into office, and we will ensure that while the banks are free to make all the profits they want, they will do so servicing and respecting the customers, paying interest on depositors' funds that they use to generate interest for themselves through lending credit, and not have to rely on advantageous fees, leaking funds from customers' accounts.
What do you call it when a bunch of companies collude to set prices, fix markets, close off competition, capture regulators, and bribe politicians?
Another issue contributing to this lack of respect and service is the closed-off nature of our financial services sector and the lack of real competition among the banks. The Progressive Empowerment Party also advocates for an open market where banking and financial services are concerned. We would create an environment that invites international competition to help bring new, vibrant stimulation into the economy, creating an environment where all banks now have to compete for depositors' funds, creating the environment that we're looking for. I am Philip Edward Alexander, and this has been 3 minutes to a better Trinidad and Tobago.
And we are back, and switching from the topic of brain drain, we also have a brain freeze situation, you can say, happening in the prisons as we have it right now. And I stumbled across this story by Newsday journalist Debbie Jacob, who actually said she met people in Remand Yard who are complaining about the fact that they are innocent and they're spending years in prison, a situation that she claims is putting or hampering the growth of the population, because we have a lot of skilled and highly trained people behind bars, many of them who are found innocent after the time they spend there, and they would have wasted years of their life behind bars for no cause. And I wanted to touch on this situation because it's actually one, it bothers me from many perspectives. One of them being the human perspective, just as a human being to another human being. Somebody who gets caught in the system and literally stuck there
with nobody who is actually willing to help her, and that's the problem. The will and the entire lack of, I guess, sense to help. Because you know that you have people who will not see trials for years to come, and this is just how badly managed and how cluttered and junky our justice system is. Our Minister of National Security, who is a lawyer by profession, would know and, let's say, champion this cause, because you already know the system, you already know the failures of it, so he is in the perfect position to help those people, because you already know how the judiciary works, how our judicial system works. And it would be very unfair to have people be in a situation like that and their case in call yet, and if it's some stupidness.
And it is usually for some stupidness. I'll never forget the lady who called me about a month and a half ago to tell me that her husband was in remand yard for about a year, and every time his case was called, they either not bringing him up to court or the police who charge him not turning up to court. And I imagine how frustrating, actually she told me how frustrating it is, because she has children, 2 children, and that day that she called me, she was actually at the magistrate court, completely frustrated, because she told her kids, daddy coming home today, because the judge told her the last time that if they came to court and the police didn't turn up again, that they were going to throw the case out. In this case, they just did not bring him to court. And she was asking the magistrate why. He told her, how am I supposed to know? I'm not there. And giving her a whole lot of rude answers. And she called the Progressive Empowerment Party, because she would have seen our video on the prison service, the Plain Talk episode that Philip would have done last year. And she was frustrated, and rightfully so, because she's here, a single woman, a single mother, a single parent by force, 2 children to mind. Her husband, who was the breadwinner, is locked up for over a year. And I keep telling people, that same woman, when we see her 2 months down the road, tiffin milk and Pampers in Massey stores, we're going to judge her and say why she don't get a job, why she tiffin, why she didn't ask somebody. And these are the situations that we as Trinbagonians don't understand, and we don't backtrack. We don't understand what happens in some of these cases to put these people in these situations that they end up in.
But where are our attorneys that fight human rights?
Where are they? And that's a good question. I like that you raised that question.
Because this is a human right problem. So where are those attorneys fighting for these people? Where? This is their cause. This is their fight. Pick up a case.
There must be something or some registry somewhere in the whole of justice or the magistrate's court that can tell you we have 3,000 men in remand yard who have yet to have a case called. I'm just calling an arbitrary number here. I don't know how many people remand yard actually holds. Let's say we have 3,000 men. Of the 3,000, 1,500 will not see a court case for the next 5 years. That already tells you we're in a bad position. Of the 1,500 cases, 500 of those are serious crimes that need witnesses and jury and all of the.
But the thing about it is, it's so easy to I wouldn't even say fix, but to bring it up. Because if with the riots in London, they had court systems 24 hours. So they had shift systems. So why is it that they cannot do that?
Exactly, because I'm sure if you drill down to it, you can sort and Excel sheet can sort basically crimes that are serious, those that are petty crimes.
You put a lock off point, so you know, okay, after the 1st of 2020, you will go to one court. Anything after that is on a 24-hour basis to bring it up.
Especially in the cases of petty crime, like a man thief for bread, or you got locked up for
a joint
or something like that. I don't even want to start on that marijuana situation.
It's unfair though. You get locked up for a joint. Maximum what you're supposed to spend like a 6 months, if so much. You in there for what, more than a year? That's time spent.
Thank you. There has to be a way that we can look at the time spent on a lot of these criminal cases and be able to release the people based on the fact that they would have served
another
that time
thing
before.
too, I did a post a while ago saying that you have people in prison that is a good labor force. So why not encourage them to grow food and do farming, do stuff? I mean, I said it kind of just off the top of my head. It's like, if you could gut a person, you could gut a chicken, right? But I mean, why not? And let them sell it, and you earn. Let's see, you could use it as lessen time on your sentence or raise your own funds while you're in prison. So you know you get, so the event you get out, you have accumulated money.
Yeah.
So it's like a system that they could implement. You could have the ones who in there for very petty crimes could do menial things on the outside. So grow seasoning, whatever, fruits, whatever it is.
That's a good point, because
And you sell it and you have a
literally
prisoner market.
You're literally wasting your life away
Yeah.
in a cell. And like the article was pointing, we have a lot of highly skilled
Yeah.
people who are in our prison. So like you said, why not use
them. You're billing, the government billing something, use them. I mean, I'm not saying for free, but you could pay them as well. But this could work for them in there. When they come out, they have money in an account.
And that is the point. Right now, what we're doing is...
We don't even have ankle monitors. All of this technology is there to track the people.
We are literally just creating
Monsters.
We're taking them from petty criminals and turning them into monsters. Because by the time these people come out, the situations that they live in and the conditions that they live in
I don't even want to
already
picture what
not
that is.
I mean, I know prison not supposed to be a bed and breakfast, but at the
No.
same time,
But
people
you're
are supposed to be able
reform
to, yes, exactly.
them in prison.
You're not supposed to be broken. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We break people.
No, not even break them, you know. We destroy people.
We just, yes.
Because you are already broken from the education system and the outside systems. And then when you go in there, it's like, yeah, we finishing you off inside there. So by the time you come out,
we
it's
hit them,
like,
they had the can, the final mortal combat
You know
blow, and
what?
that's what you get when you go to prison, and that's not what prison
supposed to be. Everywhere
Yes,
else in the world closing down prisons. We had to what? Go and build our next one?
prison system is supposed to reform your population, not hide and house the bad parts of your population that you have, that one you can't control and two you have created. We in the Progressive Empowerment Party, and that policy that we have about turning criminals into contributing members of the population is one that I wholeheartedly agree with, because we, like you said, we are destroying people, and a lot of these people have to come back out and
Sooner or
integrate
later.
themselves.
That's why a lot of
into
them
society.
have problems adjusting. And then they do some foolishness to go right back in. But that's what they know.
Exactly.
So you could have things to get them into a habit, a productive thing. Why not have them do laundry? Like in the States, prisoners cook, they do laundry, they wash their own clothes, they have gyms.
Well, you see,
all kind of thing.
One
Why
of the
not?
problems that they were pointing out, and I remember when this guy came, the head of the prisons.
Mhm.
Oh God, I forgot his
Wilson?
name. Wilson. When Mr. Wilson came, I remember one of the things he said is that they do try to offer some of these things on in terms of Golden Grove and the actual prison.
I'm sure
prisons.
it's a funding problem.
But
though.
the jails, though, so Remand Yard, you don't get access to that, because that, remember, Remand Yard is just supposed to be a temporary holding
Right,
place. But
but
when that becomes
permanent.
what?
But that's a perfect example how they just tell, this is how backward it is. They tell you something is temporary and it ends up being permanent. So when they relocate, okay, like Matlot Police Station, we relocating y'all from the wooden thing y'all were in and we putting y'all in a container. It's just temporary, but decades now they still in the container. How is that temporary?
And are they still in the container?
Yes they are. So they need to fix that system. And I don't understand what's the big deal with having remand guys in a color-coded outfit, uniform, whatever you want to call it.
What you mean?
Okay, so they have their regular clothes, whatever you send for them or whatever. Why they don't have a jumpsuit? Let's say orange.
Really?
Why not? Once you're convicted, you get, I think the color is gray and black or something. And I find that's a stupid color because you can blend in with that color anyway. You need something bright. So as soon as you see, it's like, wait, no, that's not a prisoner. That's not a prisoner.
The chains are not enough to tell you.
No, because I mean, if it's gray and black, that's a very basic color. You could blend in. You're going some, I don't know, you could blend in easier That way somebody will think, you wearing an odd striped shirt. But I mean, if it was a bright orange, a bright yellow, fluorescent green, something, be like, oh boy, you would know.
I got you.
And then if you want them to go do their gardening or whatever, those are the appropriate colors. So you will see when, hey, look, two of them running, go in there.
But they used to do that back in the day, though. Do they still do that? Like, let
They
prisoners
have
out and
community
get behavior?
service. Yeah, they do community
I will-
service.
I- when I
Outside,
was-
I think I saw a couple outside Royal Jail cutting the grass and thing. But oh God, I find that so stupid.
When I was younger, I remember we had this really tall coconut tree behind our house, and every time like a bad storm or heavy rain came, we always used to be afraid that it would fall in the house. And I can't remember how it was organized, but I remember a group of prisoners came and they cut down the tree, and I have never seen anything like that since that happened. I actually thought I dreamed it until I asked mommy, and she told me yes, it did happen. And I'm wondering, why is it not something that you see more often? That point about planting
Yeah.
is so
You have a prisoner market, the hell? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I would go and buy.
yeah.
Yeah, because you see things so hard in this place, you need to look for all the bargains and all these different
You
things.
do.
So you would. The markets are the best place to go. And if they're growing it, they would sell it cheaper.
They were.
But you know what is the next point too that I thought about for prisoners? Things that they could earn points. The same way you want to have a demerit system for driving, you can have a merit system for prisoners.
Yeah.
So the more stuff you grow, the when you don't give trouble, these things,
If you pick up a skill
Yeah.
while you're behind bars,
all these things could give them merit.
you earn a degree. you learn to
Donate blood
read.
is something that we could introduce. I mean, not every prisoner have AIDS or hepatitis or whatever
And
it
that is a
is.
stigma people need to get over.
You could come on, let them donate blood, and you get double the points. So you know, some kind of something. I really don't understand why we just have them there and
literally languishing
yeah.
and destroying their minds in prison.
But it's funny, you only hear bad things about the male prison. You don't hear anything about the female prison. Not that I want to experience it, but you just don't hear anything about the female prison. I really don't know what's going on there. Is it that we are so well behaved in prison, females?
I don't know, and that's as you raise that point, I would like to follow up on that, because
You don't hear
I would
anything.
like to see the treatment of the women prisoners versus the male prisoners, because I know for the male prisoners, in terms of family visits and seeing your kids, it is absolutely terrible. There's no washroom facility in case they have to use it. But I don't know if they would treat women differently, seeing as women are seen as the nurturing and the motherly ones. But it is something that I would like to investigate in terms
We
of
should
how
also
we-
investigate how the social development misses a woman. Where is her nurturing skills and whatnot? Because all these things are social development issues.
Yeah. Maybe. I think it's a complete lack of political will, because many of these things that we're talking about as lay people or as people seeking office, many of these things are things that those already in office should be thinking about as your job. Your job should be thinking, how can I make social?
No, they
How
only
can I
think
make
about it when they're in
society
the
better?
opposition. Remember the Prime Minister used to say, if you are not part of the solution for crime, then you are part of the problem. You are in office now and you are supposed to be having all the solutions that you had in opposition, you have none. We get Stuart Young as minister. And that should be like an oxymoron.
It
Well, that should be. It is.
It is an oxymoron.
It is an oxymoron. There's
It
nothing
is
tough looking
an
about the guy. Sorry, Stuart, but dude, no.
Sorry, not sorry. On to a new topic, the coronavirus. Are you following this virus as it makes its way across the globe?
Yes, it's already in the Caribbean.
Yes.
And
that
somebody
is
told me, I have not been able to confirm it, but they went to get a letter from the Italian consul down here, consulate, and they told her she has to come back in 2 weeks. And on further questioning, the Italian consulate was out of the country and is being treated, well, they're screening for corona. So if you were in Italy, Italy has cases.
Yeah.
And you came back to Trinidad? Why? What's going on
The
there?
question is, you came back to Trinidad, and at what point did they catch on to you to screen you?
Right? And the office is closed for 2 weeks.
So
isn't that worrying?
It's concerning, and yes, it's worrying because before I even heard about, before the news broke that it was in the Caribbean, I was actually reading a article called "Coronavirus: Get Over It." It was from the perspective of somebody who had just traveled from Hong Kong and described the airport as a literal dead zone, like nobody is flying. And that's something that we're seeing, that the airlines are being hit tremendously hard with this coronavirus, because the number one place that the virus is circulated is on aircrafts. Yeah. And that's what people are trying to avoid.
They will lose money because you have to sanitize the plane even harder than you did before. So where you used to do it every flight, you probably have to do it in mid-flight, all kind of thing.
But in the article that I was reading, because he was basically trying to debunk some of the myths surrounding it, one of the things that he was pointing out was that the virus doesn't live long outside of the human body. But the number one way you can contact it is actually taking your hands and passing it to your face. And we as human beings
love to
touch our face more than we even realize, and that's how we pass on the virus. But in saying so, I'm considering how we treat with things down here in terms of our
major. I think Trinidad will go into panic mode if it does here, because of how backward our health system is.
And that is it. Because the coronavirus, and the article was explaining, it is literally like a cold, you know. Yeah. It is like a more
once you start getting shortness of breath and I think vomiting and stuff, then you know you have some problems.
Yeah. But the thing is, those with already affected and compromised immune systems are the ones to worry the most. And that is the reason why Caribbean and third world countries tend to be afraid of pandemics like this. And by pandemic, I mean going all across the globe. We're afraid of these things because our healthcare system is literally not built to sustain and handle.
And then we have a hospital that we could very well use, but is purposely being left.
The Couva children?
Yeah.
When they're going to repurpose that for something else?
Supposedly. But I mean, what taking you so long?
We have the scare of this virus coming to our shores. And one of the things that I would blame this government for is the lack of information, because I'm seeing on Facebook people talking a lot about what the virus could do and in terms of being afraid, and
that's some of the issues that I have. But my main problem is the lack of proactive behavior, because you're still seeing cruise ships coming in, plane leaving and going and coming.
And that is it. What is
I watched a video with Saudi Arabia. Every passenger that came off that plane was sprayed with some kind of antibacterial something.
Sprayed.
Yeah, but then they don't have that problem of the virus there.
Yeah.
So why didn't we take that proactive approach? Better safe than sorry.
Question is, why did we take the approach after Carnival? Why did we say after Carnival?
Because somebody makes money. Somebody up there makes money big. That is the only reason why you would not cancel a global event like Carnival for something that is like that, where you have a lot of visitors coming to your shores.
But not just cancel though. Only, I believe it was Ash Wednesday itself that they released an updated list of countries that we weren't accepting passengers from. But all of those countries that they called prior to the day before the day before the release, they had already been confirmed as having cases of the virus.
So then you want to accept people, no problem, but then where is the as soon as they come off the plane, why you didn't Lysol everybody or whatever the case is?
Lysol.
Well, on the Lysol tin, there's the coronavirus,
I know,
whatever. So that's
there
the
is.
ideal thing. And then you have a suitcase, change your clothes in the bathroom, and head on home. You know you're safe, though.
It is true, and
I would take my Lysol soak down. I know for sure you kill every possible bacteria on me, and I'm not going home to my family with something that could kill everybody.
the proactive or the lack of proactive approach, I think, is the main concern.
That's our downfall in this country.
Yeah, that and the lack of information, because I know you use the approach, but the information part for me is also important, because misinformation is where people tend to do stupid things.
But a lot of people too prefer, because you have a lack of trust with our politicians, they rather go with international news than our. Because you see, the minister, he said, we have we are screening people in the airport, and then the couple days after, or maybe a week after, you saw where the corona kits were now in Trinidad. So what you were screening people with?
Checking your temperature, you're hot.
Maybe how you feeling? You're looking a little
You have
sick.
a runny nose.
We should quarantine you.
It must be really sucky to have an average cold right now and travel anywhere.
Yeah.
People would probably watch you like you have the plague.
I went somewhere, I think it was yesterday, I saw a Chinese man. I was like, hey, if he only cough, I gonna know.
And this is the misinformation. This is the misinformation that we need to clear, because it's not just Chinese people.
I know, but I mean,
who have
but
the virus.
I read where they were banning all sorts of things that they eat, all the wild meat. So their wild meat and our wild meat is two different kind of meats. Theirs is like normal thing, cats, dogs, things that people don't actually eat anywhere in the world. So yeah, so they were banning things like that. No cats, no bats, no dogs, things like that. And it's like, how you could just see that though?
I was reading that the virus could have, it's very much rumored to have been created though, as in created in a lab.
Well, you always hear that rumor. They talk about that with Ebola, but I mean, Ebola was something out a long time ago. It's just how it reared up. But then we go more into destroying jungle and stuff, so you don't know what it is. You wake up. It always have two sides to the thing, because we don't know what was there before we went into that area. So you really can't say that.
The article does say that it is a pandemic and it is going to spread, and there's no way to stop that. I mean, we are a globally interconnected world, and I mean, as much as you can as much as you can apply all the precautions, it is going to spread. It is now up and left to countries like ours.
I put up a few posts
to mitigate it.
About what is the Ministry of Education doing about have they informed principals what to do in the event, and all of these things are proactive measures. You don't wait till it hit the country, then it's like, well, shucks, we didn't tell the principals what to do. And then you're running and you're scampering for this and that. All now they were supposed to be informing principals, okay, any child that has a cold, send them home, let them go to the doctors to check it out, have nurses visit schools to check children. All these things you're supposed to be doing now.
And we'll see that we operate in an environment where if you're sick, workplaces still want you to come to work.
Yeah, you have your deadline, you have your deadline. Okay, I'll come and die while I'm giving you your deadline.
In this case, people, your health and the health of the people around you is way more important, particularly if you know somebody who has traveled. And
if I had the cold though, all those supervisors who I didn't like, I'm going to call all of you.
And with that, we will take a break and come back. Am I so terrible? We'll be right back. Trinidad and Tobago is in a crisis. For far too long, our people have been abused and silenced by our politicians and the business elite.
Just look around you. People are losing their jobs. Crime is at an all-time high. Our justice, education, and health systems have failed.
We all know the truth behind all that is wrong in our country. Corruption is destroying us. millions of our dollars are being looted by a small group of business people that use our politicians to divide and distract us.
So they can take what they want, leaving us with no hope for a better country.
All of this is because we've never had leaders who seek the interests of the citizenry as their first priority.
I am here because I'm not taking it anymore.
I am here because I am not taking it anymore.
I am fed up of politics as it is in Trinidad and Tobago.
It is time we elect leaders with the backbone and the love of our people to go after the corrupt, evil elements in our country, hell-bent on serving their own pockets while we suffer.
And it is time that we as a nation take a collective stand against wrongdoing.
So we are making a plea to the nation to rally behind us.
Because our freedom of speech is being threatened by those who don't want us speaking out on these issues.
A man that I greatly respect is one of those leaders fighting for a better country. His name is Philip Edward Alexander, and he has bravely challenged the people and institutions that are destroying our nation.
To date, he has been threatened with 5 lawsuits for having the courage to ask state agency UDCOT on why the renovations of the President's house cost $89 million.
When experts in the field have estimated that that job should have never crossed 20 million.
Where did the rest of our money go? We refuse to stand by and allow any agency to use our courts to try and silence and punish Philip or any other citizen of our country for trying to seek the truth.
If you're fed up of corruption and want to be a part of real change, support Philip and the Progressive Empowerment Party in this fight.
This fight is not for him or us to bear alone.
It is a fight for you, our loved ones, and our friends.
It is a fight for the future of our country.
You can help by making a contribution to Philip's legal fees and help him and PEP expose the truth and shine light over the darkness of corruption.
Go to our website at peptt.com, click on donate, and see all the ways you can pitch in.
There is hope. Our country can be saved, but we all need to stand together. My name is Felicia Holder, Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party, and I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support.
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 I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
Menstruation is a natural phenomenon that almost every woman in the world goes through. Women bleed, period. I like that. Nevertheless, in developing countries such as India, almost 82% of women do not have access to sanitary pads or tampons. Admittedly, this is an alarmingly high number. In a stride to combat global period poverty, the Scottish Parliament passed a revolutionary bill last week. This legislation makes tampons and sanitary napkins available at public places such as community centers, youth clubs, and pharmacies. Meaning, sanitary products will now be made free for all women. And we're back to talk about periods. Literally. Because when I saw this article put out by our political leader last week, I have to admit, if I could have done a backflip, I would have done a backflip, because that to me is one of the biggest strides that we have taken as a, not country because it's not us, but in the world towards women's, I would say women's rights, because I still can't believe to this day that pads and tampons and sanitary napkins are not free. Periods are not a choice for women.
Unfortunately,
it's not a choice. So it's kind of unfair that every month that you have to be buying and paying for expensive products, because those things are not cheap, and the cheap ones are not comfortable, neither are they ones that anybody would want to be using. And the fact that you have to pay and spend all of this money, it is unfortunate, and I can't believe that it's only in 2020 that we have made this progress, and sadly not where it is needed the most, which is in developing countries like ourselves, like Trinidad and Tobago. And I wanted to talk about this topic because Lima here, as the head of the women's, I know it was a topic that you were championing, and is one that I strongly agree with as well, because women, particularly homeless women, is something that I continuously worry about.
I
with
cringe at the thought because it's like, what are they doing? How? That thing is so messy. And for me, who finally, you get accustomed to it and dealing with it, for somebody who's homeless, how you go about even cleaning yourself? It is the smell alone. You yourself personally will be very conscious of it.
It is one of the most icky times to be a woman for the month. On top of the cramps and the bloating and the irritability, not to mention if you have to deal with screaming children, or you have an exam coming up, or you have a deadline at work. It is one of the most frustrating times to be a woman. Take away all of that and add to the fact that you're homeless, add to the fact that you are literally living behind somebody.
I don't even know. I don't know. And the thing about it is too, again, Trinidad, you have no facilities for these people to use. So even though, they're homeless, some of them aren't nasty. They just have no home. Mm-hmm. So some of them like to bathe and look clean still. So where you go to do that? The river? The East Dry River?
I have no idea, because are there public washrooms?
They're supposed to, yes. In Woodford Square you pay $1.
Okay, so
but that's bathroom. That's toilet facilities. There's no bathroom. So that's my problem there.
So I'm homeless. I have to find $1, because chances are the reason why I'm homeless is because I don't have much money. So I have to find $1.
No, you find a lot of homeless cases too is people with personal problems. Some are mental. Some are where you don't have the mental capacity, and your family kick you out, so they could get a house and you don't. But when you go to the riverside and you see all of them there, you don't see washroom facilities or any kind of thing. So what going on? I don't understand. I don't just yesterday I passed I walked up Frederick Street and across Park Street, and I saw 4 loads of human caca neatly spread across the pavement, burnt to a crisp because of the sun, but you smell it before you saw it, and it's like, what? Why are you smelling so? And then you saw it, and it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Listen, when we say we live in a shithole, and you asked earlier if we could say that, we are literally living in a shithole. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like to go into Port of Spain anymore.
I'm going next. I think I'll walk lunchtime today, and I'm going to take pictures. I can't be the only one seeing this. Everybody needs to see this.
I can't, because I can't deal with the smell. Your nose can guide you between East and West Port of Spain, because the further you go in certain areas, you know that you're in for something. And who's in charge of that, by the way? The corporation?
To clean the city?
Yes,
Port of Spain Corporation.
And what do they do besides pick up the rubbish late in the evening?
Well, they pick it up very early in the morning too. I did see the truck outside. It's just I really don't know. They used to have this team where they would wash down the streets on a morning. I really don't know if they still do it. I don't think so, because you could actually see the stains on the ground there.
The stains and the scent of pee. It just is. And it's our capital.
You all
city.
have not had the privilege of actually seeing the vagrant do these things. I actually had it. And I was walking towards work with breakfast in my hand.
And while I try to get that image out of my head, I will go back to the point of where are the facilities for homeless people, and to go even further, for women who who are homeless and who have their period, and where do they get these things from? Because I mean, apart from do-gooders and citizens like yourself and me who would go and give them care packages, how are they surviving? And I also brought up this topic because we just spent $441 million to renovate the Red House, $89 million to renovate
National pride.
the President's house, $17 million to renovate the President's cottage.
What is the difference between the cottage and the house though? Because the cottage is for the drivers, isn't it?
I'm not exactly sure the purpose of the cottage, but it's actually on the compound of the President's house. It's much smaller. The purpose of it, I don't know, other than being a drain on our already
national pride.
No, the cost of national pride, according to our president. But what would have also instilled national pride is knowing that we can take care of our homeless, knowing that
our president is a woman.
Let's not even go there, because I mean, so many things that we would
that she could suggest,
that she could be championing, and
these things.
But not just herself, all of the other women in Parliament, Shamfa Cudjoe, Marlene McDonald.
Really?
What's the other one name?
Paula Gopi.
All of these women that sit in Parliament, don't they have these questions that we have?
No,
don't they
remember
wonder
Paula's talk about breastfeeding and the grant. That's all Paula's talk about.
And that's it. We don't need more grants in this country. We need to give people real hope and opportunity. If you are a homeless person, there should be some place for you to go and rehabilitate yourself or get the help that you need. Is it that your problem is a mental one? We put you in a mental institution, and not just St. where we lock you behind bars
but
and
St.
throw
didn't even
medication.
lock you up, you know.
And throw medication at you.
You are free to leave. If you are violent, however, is when
that would
they lock you
explain
up.
why we have so many mad people roaming the streets. But I mean, if you have a mental disability, we should be taking care of our people. And again, back to the women, who or what organization is looking out for these women who cannot afford things like pads and
that's a good
tampons
question. We could probably write Womantra and ask them.
We could, and we should write to the president, and we should write to our government
Social
ministers
Development
and Ministry of Social Development.
Who's a woman?
Because they tell you things like, we don't want you feeding and helping the homeless anymore.
Yeah.
But who is doing it?
Actually, there was only one idiot that said that, and that was the mayor of San Fernando. And I mean, if you don't, as a homeless person, obviously you don't have money, you don't have clothes, you don't have personal care items. So obviously you are depending on the goodwill of people. And not every homeless person is there by choice. So sometimes you're down and out, you need a meal. What is the big deal with showing compassion and being human and saying, here, look a meal?
When he said that, what I wanted to understand is, if he as a human being could see a man hungry, man or woman hungry, in need, and be able to say, no, I am not going to feed you.
I don't know, but I mean, if you want to look at it in another light, he kind of did. He employed his son in the corporation with them. So you helped somebody. It was just somebody you know.
But there's nobody looking out for the vulnerable in our society, and
that's the problem.
And I strongly
believe the stupid excuse is, oh, there's litter, there's make a mess or whatever. But you could walk from here to Port of Spain and you will bounce up no bin. You think people just wanna, okay, I'm going to litter today. I'm going to do it. No, you have nowhere to put your things.
I agree. There should be at least, on every block, there should be at least 2 to 3 bins. I hate walking through
and you have different types of bins, one for paper, one for plastic. And why don't we import those machines where you put the plastic bottle in and you get the money?
You went in terms of the speed that we operate in, you went like 20 years into the future here. Now you're talking things that people will not even be able to compute in their head right now.
But I mean, that's the thing. When you come to Port of Spain, there's one bin in front of City Hall, and then there's one down by Moda Live and one down by Scotiabank. Look at the huge gaps in between. You have enough time to fling things all over the place. And it's not that you willingly do it. I mean, I argue with people on the street when they litter, but then where are they going to put it?
Or you bounce up a bin and it is overfilled.
Yeah.
And you have to... Hey, that's one thing I really hate.
The bin's nasty. You can't even touch it.
And it is so full that you have no choice but to litter and rest your rubbish next to the rubbish there. And for the people like me and you who don't like to litter, it is irking to have to go through that, knowing that there are not enough bin and facilities to throw away rubbish, or if you have to walk around with it. And if you're in town, you don't want to be walking around with a bottle of empty soft drink in your hand. You want to be able to throw your things away, but we don't have the facilities for
and the
that.
more you bring it up, the vagrants. They always have an excuse for why not to do something. The vagrants. What about the vagrants? They're gonna mess it up. Well, how you gonna do something about the vagrants? We can't do that either.
It is only in Trinidad where I see that we have a problem and they use another problem that they have created to explain why, as the excuse to why we can't deal with that problem. No, let's deal with the issue of littering and garbage collection in the city of Port of Spain, and then let's also deal with the issue of homelessness and vagrancy in the city of Port of Spain, because I cannot. A sight to me that I think we have become desensitized to, or literally so accustomed to, is watching that line of vagrants that sleep outside RBC in Port of Spain,
and getting worse because you're seeing younger and younger ones.
That I don't know if that image, it is the biggest example I can see of the haves and the have-nots in our society, literally separated by 2 inches of glass. You have the people who can afford and those who cannot, and the fact that we as a society have allowed that to happen, have allowed that to perpetuate, because I know those vagrants, there's some vagrants that I know living in Port of Spain since I'm a child. Since I'm a child, there's this married couple I know of. One unfortunately passed away. My mom knew them from when they were... Yes, you know that? You see? They are literally infamous vagrants living in Port of Spain. And clearly he has some mental problem.
He used to abuse her too.
Clearly there's something going on there, and these people, they had a child actually, and these people,
I remember when she was pregnant, and I was literally like, but they came and they took the child from her. That's one good thing that actually happened.
Listen, if as a society we could have children growing up on the street like that, then I would, as much as I like to call us failed, then we might as well just give up, because
but the thing about it is, though, you have people who, now this I heard is a rumor, I don't know how true it is, where they say people would have sex with vagrants. So what is the buffer to not get them pregnant? Or, I mean, it's not like they'll say, you have a condom?
Well, I would hope the first.
I mean, if I really want the $5 that you're offering me for, that's all really need it. I'm not gonna insist you have a condom.
But again,
you have to be out of your mind though to do that though. But
you have to be. But again, not more out of your mind than the people in charge and responsible for dealing with people like this. Because again, not because you're homeless, like you said, means that you're not a human being. It means that you don't have the same bodily functions like menstruation, or you don't have the same urges like to have sex. So we as a society, those in power, those in positions to do something, are the ones who are supposed to ensure.
I think the more degrees you get and doctorate, you lose sight of below.
Clearly.
And you only look up. So when you're in the Prado speeding through traffic, you only look up, you don't look down.
Yeah, because the blue lights part and they see, and you don't have to sit in traffic and look outside and watch.
And then they look as though, they'll run you off the road if you don't get out of their way fast enough.
The issue of us being able to provide basic necessities for our people, I mean, even if we can't, we're not yet at the place where all women can get free sanitary napkins. We at least need to be able to take care of the basic needs of
but
the
it
homeless
also
in
shows
society.
though we have that problem in schools because there's no sanitary bins in primary schools. Some children get it very early. right?
And
so
that
there's
is
none
a good
in
segue into the next topic that we're supposed to talk about, which is sex education in school. And exactly what you said is what I experienced in primary school. There was actually a girl in my primary school who got pregnant in standard 4. And I remember at the time the rest of the school, it was like a big thing, a big rumor that was flying through the school. Actually, she was abused by her father, or her stepfather, if I'm not mistaken. But that points, the fact that she couldn't get pregnant points to the fact that
she was menstruating.
She was menstruating, and we have children from the age of 10, as young as 10, who would, go through that bodily development. And like you said, we don't have those things in.
What I do is Johnson & Johnson has a program where they would go to schools and they would talk to the standard 5s and 4s, I believe, about it. So, and they would give them a couple of sanitary stuff, things, personal hygiene stuff, and teach them how to use it and whatever. So I actually called from my daughter's school, make sure they put them down on the list and whatever, because there's a list that they do it. So, but there's supposed to be a
ongoing
thing, because it's not a once a year thing. Remember, as fast as you leave SCA, another batch coming in. So it's supposed to be. So this is why when they stopped the health education nurses from going around, that worked out bad for us.
Why was it stopped?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I remember when I was going primary school, the nurses would come and used to get vaccines in school. They stopped. I don't think they do that again, because since my daughter going that school, I've never heard her say, well, Mommy, I need to walk with my immunization card because we're going to get this. But they need to reintroduce that, and those nurses would be able to pick up on a few things, teach the children this, talk to them about certain things, bodily changes and whatever. And as it is right now, we need to get girls into the habit of talking about menstruation and stuff as it's a normal thing, because some of them still think, oh my God, this is a bad thing, because they try to hide it. And how I know that? They try to flush it down the toilet. When you do that, it means you are ashamed of, you don't want anybody to know you have it.
And you're obviously not educated about proper disposal and all of that.
So and then you can't leave it up to some parents, because I was never taught about menstruation. My mother was just glad, oh, it come here, put this on. And I was just like, what is happening? Am I dying? Do I need to go to the hospital? No. Okay. And I just went back and play after. But there are some parents who would actually explain, and then there are some that don't. The ones that don't is what will be wanting to teach everybody else, and you'll be teaching other children the wrong thing.
Misinformation.
So that is how I keep saying we need to evolve our education system to that people think the more you know is the more you'll want to try things. But the more you know, you will know, okay, do I really want to do this? What are the pros and the cons?
The more information you have, the better informed decision that
you could make. Exactly.
And you're not just thinking off of emotion and feeling, and it is a time, particularly in a young girl's life, especially if you're not getting that information at home.
And the first thing you tend to, if it happens, let's say it happens to the child in school and she doesn't know about it, she mess up all her clothes, she's gonna be worried, panicking, frightened. Oh my God, what did I do? How are you supposed to deal with it? You have to educate them.
So you advocate for sex education in
I
school?
find we
Starting
should have
from
it.
what level?
Well, right now I know children who are in primary school who are sexually active. So as far as standard 4 and up, you should. Maybe standard 3, but you need to educate the children to let them know this. If you do this, these are the outcomes. It's not that you want them to go and try it, but then you have children who are already doing it in the school, and they're showing different, hey, come and see what I do. Let me show you. It just feels so good. And they're doing all kind of things more adults don't even do.
For a very hyper-sexualized society, we are very afraid of
you see people having sex for carnival in the street and children passing like normal. So sex education is supposed to be nothing.
Not only should it be nothing, it should... Listen, I agree with you in that regard, but it also is very troubling the way where our children get their information from.
That is why I keep saying you need it from the educational point of view and not your friend experience, my experience, what your boyfriend tell you, your girlfriend tell you, or what your slack mother tell you. Because let's face it have some parents who be like, yeah, you had to do this on the man and you had to do that. Why would you tell a child that? So you cannot expect everybody to have the same mental capacity or the same level of responsibility. That is our problem, and you want it from an educational point of view and not a personal point of view. You're not teaching them how to put on a condom, but at the same time you need to tell them that these things,
condoms prevent pregnancy and unwanted STDs. And
I mean, but it's kind of funny though. They created the condom for the man that doesn't give them any side effects, but everything that have side effects is for the woman.
That's the world that we live in.
So it's very anti-woman though.
It is. So we're going to take a quick break and come back. We want to open up the phone lines for your calls. We touched on a lot today. We still have some topics in the bag that we want to discuss, but like I said, we will open up the phone lines when we come back from a quick break.
Experienced ICT company, providers of quality structured cabling, Cat6 data fiber and power cables. We also stock cabling infrastructure basket type cable trays for server rooms and data centers. Antel also installs and maintains video security systems including cameras, alarms and electronic entrance locks for businesses and residential properties. Call Antel 674-1406 or 783-9250.
Science says that countries that have the greatest number of home ownership among families have the lowest levels of crime. Trinidad and Tobago has massive poverty, runaway crime, and an economy that makes no sense to anyone looking in from outside. We also suffer from the impact of corruption and narco-trafficking dollars being hidden in real estate, driving the prices up and drying up the supply. Banking in Trinidad and Tobago, unregulated, our mortgage system creates a scenario where the average house, the average home, by the time it is fully paid off, would have cost the homeowner twice and more the value initially paid. The government can impact home ownership, redevelop the family, end crime, and take Trinidad and Tobago to first world status simply by securing the nation's borders to end the drug trade and stuffing the containers on the port again to end the drug trade, to create a property tax system that calls for 0% tax on primary dwellings, a 5% tax on secondary homes, a 10% tax on third homes, 15% on fourth homes, and escalating until by the 10th house that you own is so onerous in taxes to keep that you have no choice but to sell it or pay full value of that house to the state every year. We need to do this to drive corruption dollars and drug dollars out of real estate and bring the prices back in reach with the average income, the average wage, the average salary. Trinbagonians do not get full value for their money, and that is a conversation we have to have. But when we're talking housing, to get the average person into their own home, it is a right and a privilege of the state to be able to offer to these people zero deposit, zero interest for up to 30 years on up to homes valued up to $1.5 million. This would reduce the mortgage payments to about $500 per $100,000. And if we remove the duties and the VATs and all of the taxes on all of the building materials and open the market to competition to drive the prices down, the cost of building the average 1,200 square foot starter home will not exceed $100,000. And with $500 a month as a mortgage payment, even minimum wage earners would be able to afford their own home. The numbers say that in countries where families own their own homes, crime is at its lowest. The Progressive Empowerment Party is very sure, in fact, we're certain, that of all the policies that we build our 21 policies on, home ownership is the most important of all the important ones. We propose zero deposit, zero interest for up to 30 years on homes up to $1.5 million. Normal bank lending criteria apply. In Trinidad and Tobago, no one policy has the greatest opportunity to impact upon the development of the society like home ownership. The Progressive Empowerment Party promises to make home ownership for all a central pillar in all of our economic development. I am Philip Edward Alexander, and this has been 3 Minutes to a Better Trinidad and Tobago.
We are back, and it's the last 28 minutes of the show. We are opening the phone lines for anybody who wants to call. The number is 347-4737. You can call us on WhatsApp as well. We will get your calls. We discussed a lot this morning. I'm actually going to open up the thread to see if we have any comments. Anybody wanted to add their contribution to the discussion. But I did want to jump back in on the last topic, or the second to last, depending on how the time goes, that I wanted to bring up. I actually wanted to bring this up in the carnival wrap-up that we had last week, but it didn't happen. But I still thought that I needed to bring it up. There was an incident that happened over carnival. I don't know what fete it was, but Fayan's song Dive Off the Stage, which was a very popular song for the carnival season. There was one young lady in particular who did her dive off the stage, and she became an internet sensation within hours, because when she dove off the stage, the position or the way the men held her underwear, well, it looked like she did not have on underwear, and the ever-ready cameras caught her at that moment where all of her private parts were exposed. And we had Facebook and Twitter and Instagram making an absolute meme out of this young lady, who I thought initially her face was not captured, but in other videos, because many people were recording, many people were recording the event, her face did in fact show. And I wanted to talk about this incident in particular because it actually got me into a very long 2-day Facebook argument with somebody. You know, one of those threads where like you check it and you see 105 comments. It was one of those because one of my biggest pet peeves is, I guess, how we treat people who go through or experience unfortunate or misfortune as a society. And
wardrobe malfunction.
Listen, that was the ultimate wardrobe malfunction. You had people saying things like, 1, she wasn't wearing underwear, or 2, she was wrong for even jumping off the stage, or 3, she was some people were saying that she's disgusting. And me, who considers myself the fighter of all victims, took on her case because I didn't know this story, but I did read somebody saying that she did have have on underwear. But what happened was the way that she was held, she had on a bodysuit and it opened, and while this may not seem to be relevant to the topic this morning, I did want to bring it up because in the end, you ended up seeing from a different point of view that she did have on underwear, and just the way or the force with which they held her up, it actually burst or it shifted to the side or something along those lines, and she was exposed. And I brought it up because the majority of people who were saying things about her and calling her nasty and disgusting and she had no behavior, I felt that they were being extremely unfair, and unfair from the point of view where I personally would not go to a carnival fete and jump off the stage. It is just not, it's not who I am. I don't think it's fun, and
I don't want nobody I don't know holding me.
Exactly. I don't want anybody that I don't know.
Hands have a way of going places.
Yeah. I don't want anybody
people.
I don't know touching me in that kind of way. But, however, it was actually a phenomenon that happened across this carnival season. Actually, the last fair that I went to, a breakfast party, this girl from Love and Hip Hop, I don't know if you ever watched Love and Hip Hop, Carly Red, one of the stars of Love and Hip Hop, she actually dived off the stage. Fayan is famous for diving off the stage, and several other women dived off the stage in that very one incident. Did they have on dresses that can ride up? No. And for that, my girl, I mean, a little discretion would have been advised. However, I absolutely do not condone the people who were judging her and calling her disgusting and saying that she had no decorum, and somebody even went as far as saying if you can't afford underwear, then don't go to a party. And I'm thinking that as a society we are so hypocritical because we are the same ones who had people having sex for carnival, and they say, was it you telling me about that?
I saw 2 videos.
Of people actually having sex in carnival, and I didn't see them making the wrongs in terms of memes as much as this woman was.
There's the other one where the guy was sucking the woman's breasts in the middle of the carnival, man.
In the middle of carnival again, where children.
The one with the guy's face on the one behind, the woman behind.
Well, I wasn't sure if that one was from Trinidad. I'm seeing people saying that it wasn't. Whether it was from here or not, we have still many other cases of people just.
And what about the ones that didn't make it to video?
Exactly, the ones that didn't make it to video that people would have seen firsthand in the melee of carnival.
Yeah.
And I brought it up because I wanted to let Trinidad and Tobago know. Listen, we are a hypersexualized nation, and we see, and for some reason it comes out and bad for carnival. For those 2 days, it's like
anything
and everything goes for carnival. But that's not to say that it should happen like that.
No.
But for people who end up in situations where, like that young lady, they get embarrassed, I think as a society we really need to be kinder to others. I'm not saying
we need to be compassionate.
Exactly, we need to be compassionate.
We need to feel sorry for people
and try to put yourself in people's shoes.
That could happen to anybody. Look, Destra bodysuit burst open on her.
Janet Jackson was in the middle of a Super Bowl performance when Justin Timberlake ripped off her piece on the top, and she was exposed to the world to see. Britney Spears got caught with her leg open, and photographers took images of it. You don't have to be disgusting to be somebody that something bad happens to. And as a society, rather than be judgmental and point fingers and bring down people, we should really do better to uplift those who go
But the thing about it is, the same people who bashing online, you know, if you go home and you hear their spouse cussing them up and saying all kind of thing about them, it's the same thing. It's just you have no video footage. But I'm sure if you talk to the neighbors, the whole neighborhood know who you sleep with, who you don't sleep with, and all what you just do. So,
and that's it. We are very hypocritical when it comes to that. And if it's one direction I would like to see us move forward as a society, is just learning to have a little bit more compassion for each other. And yes, we may not dive off stages, and yes, nothing like that ever happened to us. And yes, we may never imagine ourselves being in a position like
But it
like
could
that.
happen. I remember I wore pants. I went to pay my TNTech bill, and I was just fixing the back of the zip here, and then I felt breeze. I was like, oh my God, don't tell me my pants zip was open here. And it did. And the guy in front of me realized on my face that something happened. He's like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I just have an emergency. So he's like, well, what happened? So I was like, my pants zip just, became undone. So he's like, well, nobody's seeing it. So I was like, no, it's to the back. And he's like, oh, okay. So he actually checked, and he's like, you're not seeing it all that much. Just keep the shirt down.
We live in a society now, because something like that happened to me. I told you about this, walking around the savannah, and hearing giggles behind me and Trinidad and Tobago. You all can hear this story, because Lima just gave her embarrassing story. I'll give mine. I was walking around the savannah some years ago, doing my evening exercise, and when the savannah real busy and everybody there, because it was gearing up for carnival. And every time I pass, I just keep hearing people giggling behind me, only for these two kind ladies to stop me and say, ma'am, just want to let you know that your pants has a rip in it. And the pants that I hadn't worn for a while ripped all the way up the seam, and I was walking around the savannah with my cheeks exposed, and I guess everybody behind me was having a nice laugh about that. But we live in a society now where people wouldn't stop you again to tell you.
No, I have some people that do it. Like,
they would.
But the
majority will take out their phones to film you and videotape you and put you up on Facebook and say, look at this one. Why she dressed so? And rather than pull you aside and
say excuse.
That is what people do now. They're looking for everything to put on social media for likes and shares and to expose you. And I'm telling people, listen, try and have a little bit more compassion now, because again, I didn't have to dive off a stage for me to be exposed. You didn't have to dive off a stage for something like that to happen to you. And particularly for women, I don't like, and as women, we tend to be some of the most vicious
we are
attackers.
Competitive and very bitchy, and I don't understand why, because it could happen to any one of us.
It can happen to any one of us.
You could wear your clothes normal, your period come, you mess up. That's nothing to really laugh about. And I a couple times, you pull up your zip or whatever and it undo. I would see people like, excuse, your zip down. I'm not a lesbian, but your zip down. And
I hate the prefix.
That's what I said. Some people, but it's come with a thing, and that's what I've been told, that excuse, I'm not watching you or anything, but you zip down. But I saw a couple women already zip down, all kind of thing happening, and I don't say the whole, I'm not a lesbian, but it's like, excuse you, zip down, Oh my God, you serious? She's like, you know how far I walk from?
Exactly. It doesn't take much to just be a little bit kinder, and that was the whole point of this entire discussion, that to encourage us as a society, us as young women, us as young men, to look out. Please, let's try and practice looking out for each other, because situations that we may not find ourselves in, you may just end up finding yourself in.
And it could be with anything, because look, I was walking down Charlotte Street, and this lady, she coming off the pavement, Charlotte and Duke. The traffic light there doesn't work, so people coming across, you just try to rush across Charlotte Street. And this man is coming across at a speed, and I realized the woman next to me, she coming off the pavement, so I had to actually pull her back. I'm like, wait. And then the man come in, and she said something to him, and he started to cuss. So I opened my mouth and said, but you is the so and so, because you're coming across the intersection so fast. And he proceeded to tell me something else, and I was like your mother. Because it's an elderly lady, he could have knocked down. All of us would have been on the way to the hospital because of him and his stupidness.
As much as
you're trying
people
not
might
to
be
answer,
shocked by your response, but I can actually understand your response, because Especially when you see vulnerable people, there's a protective sense in you that wants to jump on because you think that could be my mother or my grandmother, or that could be my child or my sister or my friend.
Too. Some people ridiculous with children. I saw a little boy, he stand up, he wants to cross the road. Every time he come off the pavement, he stand up in the road, cars just pushing past, so he get back on the pavement. The child late for school, all kind of things. So I walk up and I was like, you ready to cross the road? He told yes. I was like, all right, let's go. And then I helped him cross the road. It had another one. The mother, she stopped and parked up, and the child came out and he ran across the zebra crossing. Now, I would have, if I was a police officer, I would have gone buff that woman up. Because that's a two-way street, the child run across without looking both ways.
Yeah.
And you as a parent, park up and walk your child now.
Indeed.
I actually call the school, search up there. Right, looking for this number thing. Hi, is this so-and-so? They put yes. Right, y'all teach the children how to cross the road or talk to them about it. She's like, not really, why? I said, because this morning y'all would have had a serious problem with a child being knocked down in front of your school.
Yeah.
I say, so even you can't leave it up to parents alone for teaching the children that you as a school could, just before school dismiss or whatever, you remind them, look both ways, these things. I say, because that little boy would have got knocked down this morning.
I agree, and it's actually one of my pet peeves to see how children cross the road.
Yes,
especially
secondary school children, G's and ages.
And it literally irks me the way they walk across with this bounceman kind of attitude. And I mean, I won't say it, but sometimes they make you feel like, listen, just to hold them and smack them and say, who taught you to cross the road?
Yeah.
And what are they teaching in schools?
So my husband always tell me, he's like, yeah, leave people alone. So I was fine on the window, walk on the pavement. Walk on the pavement.
I was telling somebody, I say, you're getting older when you're screaming behind children that are not yours.
Gosh, boy, there's real look to annoy me for that. And
but the adults are the ones responsible. The adults and the parents and the schools and the teachers.
You saw my post yesterday about the school children who were there outside all 9 o'clock in the morning still waiting on a taxi.
No, I didn't. But again,
I posted
unacceptable.
And they're jumping in special taxis because the car looking good, he playing nice music, and he went on the window, call that one over there. Like, what you feel is you're picking chicken off a line here to buy?
And actually that's something that I think the Ministry of Education
long time you would see police hustling them, getting the taxi
and
to
the
go to
police service
school.
needs to address as well, because particularly in Belmont and stuff like that, I see too many cases of these male taxi drivers picking up school children and going for drives and
all kind of joyriding.
All kind of joyriding, like you say, and that is completely unacceptable. But who is addressing it and who's looking at these issues from an educational point of view? We have a dinosaur in the Ministry of Education who wants to pretend that children are having sex, and he wants to pretend that we don't have bad behavior.
I think he's a fossil because he's no longer.
Yeah, he has been fossilized for real.
Because he come to a dead stop. It's like you don't even hear him saying anything that is of relevance to the century. Why would you not want sex education? Why wouldn't you want to put out a little thing about, okay, teachers, in case this happen, deal with this for the virus that's coming?
We bury our heads in the sand and pretend it doesn't happen, and then when it does happen, we're quick to label them, and that's that we're a blame the victim society. Children in this case, until they are 18 and until they are adults to make legal decisions for themselves, they are vulnerable and they are the victims.
The Prime Minister said all those children that were fighting, the hyenas, blah, blah, blah. But did you once think these children have a problem? Let me send my minister to investigate it. Obviously, they have a problem.
You put out a post, it was yesterday or day before, that spoke about something that I completely agree with, which is having social services and social development follow up on these children who are not going to school. There's a family in my neighborhood where the children take turns going to school. The sister will go one day, the brother will go one day, and when you dig deep, you would find, and you don't even have to dig deep. The situation is one where the parents can't afford to send the two at the same time. And then the situation where the mother is having more children, most likely from being
Different men.
exactly, not being educated. I don't want to say not being educated because she's a grown woman, but clearly she's
But
in a
a grown woman
circumstance.
doesn't mean educated.
A grown woman does not.
You don't know
Exactly,
if
does not mean
she
educated.
didn't finish school because she got pregnant, and then if we had sex education, she would have probably known to make him wrap it up. But then you've seen cases where women fall to peer pressure by that because you love the man, and he say, "Well, I don't want to use a condom, and if you make me use a condom, I go on." But you want to keep the man, so you will do it. So all these things they need to start to look into, which goes back to the same issue where I did a post saying that parents need to teach their children about self-respect and their worth. Don't fall for no man buying your KFC. You want that? Homeboy, let's go Prime Restaurant.
Thank you very. Take me for some sushi.
Take me for sushi. Fancy thing. Come meet my parents and let's make this happen.
And you know the thing is,
But a 2-piece, a snack pack.
that kind of education is what you should be getting in our households and our
Yeah.
community. But just to bring it back to politics, because we have so many broken homes and broken communities, you find these rallies are not being instilled as they used
So
to.
that is
in the
why
past.
social development has to take the full brunt of all of our problems in
They
this
do.
country.
Every single problem can almost be drilled down to social
Yeah.
or the lack of proper social development and management.
And you would see most
our
of these things
society.
are a cycle. It's a cycle. You'll be able to detect things when you have functioning systems in schools.
We have just under 10 minutes for the program. You can call us at 347-4737 if you want to make a contribution. Back to social. Actually, no, let's take a quick break and we'll come back. We have 8 minutes. Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll take some calls when we come back.
Antel is Trinidad's most reliable and technically experienced ICT company, providers of quality structured cabling, Cat6 data fiber, and power cables. We also stock cabling infrastructure basket-type cable trays for server rooms and data centers. Antel also installs and maintains video security systems including cameras, alarms, and electronic entrance locks for businesses and residential properties. Call Antel 674-1406 or 783-9250.
Hey! There we go! Everything out of control. What is? Check it out. 9 o'clock in the morning. Tell me what you doing. 9 o'clock in the morning.
We back, we live, yeah. I had to go move my car, so excuse the random and sudden break in the middle of the show. Especially so close to the end. I did promise that we will be taking calls 347-4737. You can call us on WhatsApp as well. I see that we were back before I even realized, and I'm seeing the delay now. I was just playing with my hair and all of that. Anyway, we were talking about the lack of social management and development in this country, and particularly as it affects and impacts our young children and our schools and our education system. And you brought up a comment there that I remembered. It's when the education minister, was it our prime minister, who called the children wild hyenas?
Yeah, prime minister.
And yes, it was the prime minister. And that statement was just so uneducated, so ignorant, so stupid, because
if I was prime minister, the day after I would have been in that school.
You are the prime minister of a country. You're in charge of everything.
He's in charge
that
of the
happens.
hyenas.
You are in charge, and you most likely helped create those wild hyenas that you're quick to stigmatize and put aside and prejudice against. Because as soon as there's a fight in a school, they instantly want to distance themselves, and these children are bad behaved. But is the Education Ministry and is the Prime Minister and is the Ministry of Social Development looking into why we have these issues in schools? Why are there some schools? Why isn't it that you do see fights breaking out in Fatima?
They probably do. They just probably hide it very well.
No, but you have to admit that in these so-called prestige schools, there seems to be a level of better or more contained behavior as opposed to the junior secondary schools, or do they still call them that, or just the secondary schools, or the schools that are churning out children with lower passes and stuff. And again, I don't like to get into this too much because people are quick to say, but I went to this school and I did well. You know, kudos to you and kudos to all of those who...
Yeah, but you would have turned out better if you had equal opportunity as anybody who went to a prestige school. So
thank you. So
it's justifying your complacency with that doesn't mean that it's right.
Exactly. And there's nobody, at least in this present government or any past ones that I've seen, that is looking into trying to figure out and fix the disparity between
it all
schools.
Stems to, you see, when they decided not to do corporal punishment, which I understand, yeah, you don't want to do that, but what was the alternative?
What was the replacement?
What was the replacement to get control? Because now it is you lost control of the children, so they're free to do whatever. You see teachers being afraid to do what they have to do.
I am not one
that, and we also lose where some parents can't tell children, hey, don't do that. You're not my mother.
I am actually not an advocate of corporal punishment. I don't agree with it and believe it. If you want to spank your child or beat your child, like we say, home in the privacy of your house, at least, I mean, not to abusive degrees, no problem, because I get my good licks when I was younger as well. But in schools, I'm not a fan of it. I'm neither in homes as well, because I don't really believe that hitting a child makes them learn. But discipline is something that is severely lacking, and there are other ways of instilling discipline in a child other than raising your hands to hit them. And it is the irony of it is that it's education that the child needs, and sometimes in some cases social intervention, because when you look at the households of these children who are violent, most times they come from abusive households as well, or they come from a situation where daddy not home, or it's just mommy raising me and I'm a boy child and she can't manage me, or we living in a case where I don't have any parental supervision at all. I could do whatever
granny
I want.
living and I could fool granny.
Exactly. And the fact that we are letting so many of our children get away from us because of our lack and I say but the lack of government ministers and those responsible for following up and being in charge of developing our society, leaving us to fall behind like we have been. Yes, it's good for you in terms of getting votes, in terms of rearing an uneducated and misinformed population, but in terms of longevity and in terms of the future generations to come, we are literally, like you said earlier on, creating our own monsters.
And you know who's gonna feel it? You see all these same senior people who's diehards, when they reach that point and the generation that they took for granted don't have time for them, and want to hear, don't know how to take care of them, and that's when they will realize the monsters they made.
I'm actually very fearful when I think about it. When I see, like when I drive through Port of Spain and I see the wayward behavior of some children. I saw a fight between some secondary school children the other day. Police came and they still continued fighting. When I hear about fights in school, when I hear about the child who busts the teacher glass, when I hear...
That's why teachers are afraid to discipline and talk to children now.
When I hear about all of this, I just think about the future, and I am worried and fearful for it. I'm worried and fearful for children like yours who didn't grow up in that environment, who may be exposed to this kind of behavior that they did not grow up in, and who I would hate to become victims of this kind of behavior, because bad behavior is not isolated. They come and they infect and they disrupt the good ones who were fortunate to get that discipline and education. Anyway, we as a country, we have so much to do, especially, and it's weird that the topic took a social development and social management kind of angle this morning, and it did because it is what is
That's the
severely
glaring
lacking.
point.
It is the foundation, and it's why the Progressive Empowerment Party insists that it is a super ministry, because it is responsible and it is at the foundation, at the core of us developing and going forward as a nation, as a community, and as a society. We are out of time. Yes, 8 o'clock is here, and sorry that I lost you all when I had to run out and move my car, but I think the discussion was really great, and I will be back on Thursday for another episode. Tomorrow you'll be joined by Anthony Dufour, who would be doing his segment, and you are back when?
Friday
morning.
Unless you all ask me to co-host again.
Actually, I may ask you, would you like to come co-host with me this Thursday? We can talk about it offline. Until Thursday, Trinidad and Tobago, or maybe Friday for Lima, depending on whether she accepts. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Trinidad and Tobago is in a crisis. For far too long, our people have been abused and silenced by our politicians and the business elite.
Just look around you. People are losing their jobs. Crime is at an all-time high. Our justice, education, and health systems have failed.
We all know the truth behind all that is wrong in our country. Corruption is destroying us.
Billions of our dollars are being looted by a small group of business people that use our politicians to divide and distract us.
So they can take what they want, leaving us with no hope for a better country.
All of this is because we've never had leaders who seek the interests of the citizenry as their first priority.
I am here because I'm not taking it anymore.
I am here because I am not taking it anymore.
I am fed up of politics as it is in Trinidad and Tobago.
It is time we elect leaders with the backbone and the love of our people to go after the corrupt, evil elements in our country, hell-bent on serving their own pockets while we suffer.
And it is time that we as a nation take a collective stand against wrongdoing.
So we are making a plea to the nation to rally behind us.
Because our freedom of speech is being threatened by those who don't want us speaking out on these issues.
A man that I greatly respect is one of those leaders fighting for a better country. His name is Philip Edward Alexander, and he has bravely challenged the people and institutions that are destroying our nation.
To date, he has been threatened with 5 lawsuits for having the courage to ask state agency UDCOT on why the renovations of the President's house cost $89 million.
When experts in the field have estimated that that job should have never crossed 20 million.
Where did the rest of our money go? We refuse to stand by and allow any agency to use our courts to try and silence and punish Philip or any other citizen of our country for trying to seek the truth.
If you're fed up of corruption and want to be a part of real change, support Philip and the Progressive Empowerment Party in this fight.
This fight is not for him or us to bear alone.
It is a fight for you, our loved ones, and our friends.
It is a fight for the future of our country.
You can help by making a contribution to Philip's legal fees and help him and PEP expose the truth and shine light over the darkness of corruption.
Go to our website at peptt.com, click on donate, and see all the ways you can pitch in.
There is hope. Our country can be saved, but we all need to stand together. My name is Felicia Holder, Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party, and I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support.
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 I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.